All right, Steve Berg here from 1100 Springs at the Cadillac Barn, doing some filming today, doing some work with our buddy Robert Hamilton.
Good morning.
Robert Hamilton, if you don't know him, is a wonderfully talented artist. How long have you been painting and doing art?
Oh gosh, well, I mean, since I was just an itty bitty baby, I guess it was. No, I don't know. I guess I really haven't been doing this kind of stuff until I really started hanging out with you guys. A lot of people that I met up in Denton, obviously, in the mid '90s, I guess, is really when I started trying to tie music and artwork together.
And that obviously deserves a mention too. A wonderful drummer. You played with the Kim Lynn's band in, to me, what would be the definitive era. Who all was in the band?
Yeah, that was Jake Irwin on bass and Mike Lester on guitar. Yeah.
Jake Irwin, one of the finest bass players there is,
yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
If you don't know him, check him out. He's not on the internet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he is. I don't know. But anyhow, that was a wonderful time in the 90s. And towards the late 90s, when 1100 Springs started, 98, 99, that was the go-to era. You had a four-color, four-station screen print press. In addition to doing the normal art. So like the first 1100 Springs t-shirts came off your press.
I forgot about that, man.
And this was an era. You know, nowadays everybody's got a homeboy who does printing. He's the best. I had a dozen shirts printed by him. He's awesome. But man, when we're talking printing shirts in the 90s, you know, it was kind of post-era of like process cameras. Like prior to that, you had to have a camera the size of this room to make films. But at the time, Kinko's was making transparencies.
Yeah. So we'd run to Kinko, or I'd draw something up and I'd show it to you, and I couldn't email it to you. I'd physically see you.
You have to go meet somewhere
to show me
at Kinko's.
And you'd say, yeah, this looks good or whatever, and then we'd make transparencies. I'd run home and burn the films or burn the screens in my
dark room.
Yeah, with the washer and dryer. Where you know I closed the door and would burn them in there, and then run out to the garage and hook them up and start trying to print it. Yeah, it was nuts. It was a lot of fun though.
When you grew weary of that, you sold the screen print gear to me.
Right. Yeah.
Man, that's a lot of work. So
it's so much work.
You know, the second round of T-shirts, 1100 Springs era, were done in my garage.
That's right. Yeah.
But oftentimes with your artwork,
you
know, since not everybody understands color separations, especially. Gosh, making them like the Kinko's way.
Right.
So we've been collaborating on stuff for years.
Absolutely.
But nothing lately. Now we're going to change that. I don't want to give away too much, but I got a few of the art pieces that and posters and whatnot that you may recognize. Showing it to the camera. I don't know if the light's hitting this. That's my old truck, 1966 F100.
Yeah, man. All markers. A bunch of colored markers just going crazy on poster board.
Colored markers, and we knew a guy at Kinko's who,
man.
You know, we could get the sponsorship from Kinko's. For the kids who don't know, that's a place that made copies on physical paper, you know, who printed up these wonderful original artworks on some paper.
Pretty decent sized stock, or thick stock. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that was fun.
And this is all hand-drawn pen and ink.
Yeah.
That's me. Lionel Richie, some other dude, Matt right there.
I was in a Lionel Richie phase.
Yeah, I know. I
couldn't help it. I had to work him in. I worked him into everything during that year.
Snuck him in, and this is some early.
Playing around with Illustrator, and I can play with these fonts, and not quite as fun as the drawing, but definitely something you could crank out.
Oh my gosh, and we never had a shortage of cool looking posters.
Yeah, it was fun.
You know, it was always important to us to represent, and that continues to this day, to have a unique look on our posters and not just be another poster that just blends into the background.
It just gets thrown out after the gig.
And here's a poster from our first CD. CD available now. CDs were available in 1999. But the image you see right here is an actual fake road sign.
It's just a piece of wood that you painted green.
Yeah, so I took a 5x3 piece of wood, painted it green. And I think the paint was still drying. And at the time, you were doing a day job at a sign shop.
Yeah, working at a little sign shop that had a single plotter that would just cut vinyl, you know, so I had white, black, yellow, blue, red to choose from.
Yeah,
you know,
we went with white to make it look like a road sign. So we physically made this road sign for the first 1100 Springs album cover in my backyard, in my garage. and then went out on location, stuck it in the ground, took the picture of it, and it
no Photoshop.
No Photoshop.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me recently, "Oh, I got your first CD. That was Photoshop." I'm like, that was 1999. I don't think I didn't have a computer.
I didn't have access to Photoshop. Even if I did, I wouldn't know what to do with it. Yeah.
And this is one from my personal collection. One of the few art pieces in my personal collection that hasn't found its way up here to the Cadillac Barn.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about this?
I just remember you guys were. It was the tattooed hippie. What's the tune?
Long hair tattooed hippie freak.
Yeah. And I think you just sent me I almost said sent me a text, but you didn't. You couldn't have sent me a text. You must.
It was a phone call.
We must have talked on the phone or something. Yeah. You sent somebody on a horse with a note in their bag. But anyway, I remember you talking to me about that, and I had kind of Matt's hair was, I think, down to his ass at that point, and so I kind of used Matt in my mind as the model for it, and of course I gave him the porn stash there. But anyway, I remember painting that up and handing it off to you just to see, because at that time I think you had the press up.
Yes, I was doing printing on the Kinkos, transparencies, into screen print screens.
Yeah.
So doing a one color design, man, sure better. In terms of putting the mechanical things together to actually print T-shirts.
And on this one, I think I just used some. I mean, this is just black one-shot paint on an acrylic panel, which is funny because I could have painted on something besides acrylic, I think. But anyway, that's what I had sitting around.
Which is cool. I should build a light box like that.
Yeah, that would be cool
to light this up.
But that was a fun image. Yeah, that was cool.
And we got tons of mileage out of this, like countless T-shirts with this image on it and long hair tattooed hippie freak on the back. Which translated to, ran it all through the gas tank,
Well, the cool thing too is that of the bands that I was working with or getting to hang out with or getting to play with or create stuff for, nobody was hitting me up with stuff like this. So it was like when you and I would talk about, oh man, I'm on this. This is going to be a blast,
And we've done lots of other collaborations and your original artworks that, I just don't have at the ready. Wasn't able to grab. And one that you did at the time, I was driving a 1967 El Camino.
Oh yeah.
And it's while you were working at the sign shop in the early days of vinyl lettering. So I had you make a sign for the rear window of my 67 El Camino that said mullet because it's short on the top and long in the back. And I thought it was hilarious,
and I did it in the arc, that you always see, with the old English lettering. I know. I think it was. Oh man!
If I can find a photo of that when I edit this together, I'll put that in so people can see what we're talking about, and just many other designs and artworks that we got so much mileage out of, and
tons of fun.
And that's kind of what brings you here today.
Yeah, basically, you and I have been kind of keeping in contact. Every once in a while, we both poke our heads out, and you reached out, and your idea, your concept, and especially, and I don't want to spill the beans here, but your concept of the not only the medium that I'm working with, but the actual surface that I'm painting on was such a monumental, just unusual circumstance with so much history behind. Usually I'll paint on a piece of found acrylic like this, and it's not a big deal. But in this situation, it's so much more, means so much more to so many other people that I had to jump all over.
Man, I appreciate you getting on this, and that's just kind of a teaser, folks. What we're talking about, we're working on some very special artwork for the upcoming 1100 Springs album cover. And it's such a special artwork that it'll have its own segment and episode on our YouTube channel. So
that'll be fun.
Stay tuned to that. And well, speaking of which, man, let's get the paint out and do this up. Man, thank you so much for coming by today.
Thank you, sir.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.